Hey Shakers, welcome to Worth Your Salt, the podcast that shakes up your marketing game in the health and wellness industry. Worth Your Salt is brought to you every Thursday by Salt Marketing. Salt Marketing helps health and wellness practitioners build trust and authority to attract a steady stream of inbound wellness seekers. For more information, you can visit us online at saltmarketing.co. I'm Taylor Perry, brand strategist with Salt Marketing, and your guest host for today's episode of Worth Your Salt. As you can tell, we are flipping the podcast a bit today to discover why your brand's message and voice are more critical than ever, especially in a world where AI is helping companies communicate. I'm here with Jennifer Orikwa, StoryBrand certified guide and strategist with Salt Marketing. We are going to dive deep into the StoryBrand 7-part framework, revealing why it's a game changer for businesses like yours. You'll learn how storytelling can set your health and wellness business apart, gain insights into crafting a unique and compelling message, and understand why working with a certified StoryBrand guide is essential. Whether you're a fitness guru, holistic health practitioner, or simply interested in the future of marketing, this episode is packed with knowledge that will transform your approach and help you thrive in an increasingly discerning marketplace. I am so looking forward to this conversation, Jennifer.
Me too. I'm hoping this is going to be a masterclass in the art of messaging and brand voice.
Yes, absolutely. So, Jen, let's begin with a foundation here about what StoryBrand is. I know it's a messaging framework created by author Donald Miller that centers around the power of storytelling. But I also know that there's more to it than that. So can you start with a brief overview of what StoryBrand is and how it differs from traditional marketing strategies?
Yeah, for sure. So at a basic level, StoryBrand is a way for businesses to clarify their message by casting themselves as a guide in their clients' stories. So you're helping those clients overcome their challenges and achieve their goals. Mm-hmm. So in traditional marketing messaging, the emphasis is often on the company. You'll see a lot of what I call we language on people's websites. So we do this or we got these results. But to connect on a deeper level, your messaging has to reflect a certain amount of understanding of what your prospective customers are going through. So you can see when a company gets that, when they start to use you predominantly. So you'll see these results. You will experience that transformation.
Yeah, that totally makes sense. So in a world where AI is increasingly used to craft messaging, why is having a clear brand voice and messaging strategy more crucial than ever for health and wellness businesses?
You know, it's kind of interesting. We're seeing more clients in this industry catching on to the power of AI than ever before. And no doubt it can be a powerful tool to overcome that blank page staring back at you when it's time to get to that first draft of your new piece of content. But if everyone's using AI, the real opportunity to differentiate yourself comes in the form of mastering your unique messaging strategy. So who are you? What can you do to help me solve the issues I'm encountering? AI can't tell your customers who you are. Only you can do that.
You are so right. People have this natural inclination to connect with stories. How does StoryBrand leverage that human instinct to create more effective marketing?
Yeah. So, when you think about storytelling, it's been an integral part of human connection for millennia. So, stories engage us, our emotions, our imagination, makes information more relatable and memorable. So unlike carefully crafted marketing copy that can come across as self-promotional or impersonal, these stories create a sense of authenticity and empathy. So a story allows our customers to see themselves in the narrative, making it easier for them to connect with our message on a personal level. When we share that we understand the struggle that they're going through and help them see a future in which those struggles are overcome, we're tapping into that human nature and our innate desire for connection and understanding.
Yeah, I love that you said it allows customers to see themselves in the narrative. I think that's so important. So can you explain the StoryBrand 7-part framework? Why is it so effective for businesses that are in the health and wellness sector?
So for me, this is the fun part. This is where storytelling starts to make sense in a marketing context. So StoryBrand's 7-part narrative is surprisingly simple. The first part is a character. So that character is your customer, not your business. So you need to identify your ideal customer and understand their desires, their needs, their challenges within the health and wellness industry. So this step is all about knowing your target audience intimately. Mm-hmm. So secondly, that character has a problem. So a specific problem or challenge related to health and wellness. It could be anything from weight management and fitness goals to stress reduction or improved mental health. So we look at the problem from all sides in the StoryBrand framework. So internally, externally, and philosophically. So the third step of the framework is that character meets a guide, you. So your business in that role of the guide is there to help them navigate this journey. I would honestly say that if you walk away from this podcast with just one thing, this is it. You are not the hero, your customer is. So position your business as the expert or the guide, I often say Sherpa, with the knowledge and the resources to assist them. This is where you can empathize with the problem they're experiencing. We can share our authority and how we can solve that problem. So step 4 is to give them a plan. As the guide, you want to provide a clear step-by-step plan or solution for customers to achieve their goals. And here it's really essential to simplify things, outline the process so that it feels attainable. Then you've got to call them to action. That's the next step, encouraging your customers to take action, whether that's signing up for your program, scheduling a consultation, making a purchase. Any of those things is an action step that they can take. And so then step 6 is helping that character avoid failure. So we talk about the potential negative consequences of not taking action or choosing a different path. In the health and wellness industry, this might mean discussing the risks associated with not addressing their specific health issues. So you don't need a ton of failure examples, just enough for them to want to avoid it. And then the final part of the framework is where our story ends in success. So we paint a vivid picture of the positive transformation that they can achieve by following the plan and taking action. We're showing them what life will look like when they've successfully addressed those health and wellness needs.
Yeah, that's a lot, but it totally makes sense. I love the way it's all coming together. And many of our listeners might be new to the concept of story brand. So what is the difference between traditional marketing messaging and this story brand approach?
Yeah, I get asked this question a lot. So one thing I like to imagine your customer's journey, like they're making their way through a forest.
Okay.
So using traditional marketing messaging, our company, Forest Navigation Incorporated, we would hand them a map that highlights all the features of the forest. Here's the tall trees, here's the clear streams, the well-marked paths. We're telling them, hey, we want to give you the tools or knowledge you need to figure this out. So in the story brand approach, instead of a map of features, the customer encounters someone who's been on this journey before. The guide understands the challenges they're facing and shows them a plan, painting a picture of what's on the other side of the forest. So with a guide by their side, they're not just learning about the features of the forest, they're actually immersed in this relatable story, like telling them how they're going to get to their destination. So the story might include the tall trees, but also the shortcut and how you can climb one to overcome an obstacle. Or the guide doesn't just identify there's the clear streams, they actually explain how we can drink from one of them to quench our thirst and get to the next point or the next benchmark in our journey. So it's all about the customer achieving their goals as the hero of their own story with you as their trusted guide. Does that make sense?
That totally makes sense. And that was such an awesome visual. So thank you. All right. So even though I'm familiar with StoryBrand and I have seen firsthand what this approach can do for a business, I am just learning so much more about this. So thank you so much for diving into that. Mm-hmm. And we do have to take a sponsorship break. But when we return, let's talk about how StoryBrand applies in the health and wellness industry specifically. Stay with us.
The Worth Your Salt podcast is grateful to our partners and sponsors. We know you're here because you want to build and scale your wellness business by providing exceptional value. In order to do that, you've got to have a fully custom marketing plan that meets you where you are and brings clarity to your vision for the future. The problem is, the sheer number of things you have to pay attention to can feel overwhelming, which makes you feel like you might never achieve your goals. At Salt Marketing, we believe that creating trust and authority shouldn't be an ongoing struggle. As a StoryBrand certified guide, Salt Marketing can help you gain clarity by applying the StoryBrand framework to your growth strategy. Today, we'd love for you to get started with a marketing plan you can feel confident in. Head over to saltmarketing.co and take our 10-minute assessment. You'll get a free, customized marketing plan that will generate more revenue for your business. Visit us at saltmarketing.co to get your plan today.
We are back here on the Worth Your Salt podcast. And Jennifer, before the break, we were talking about the difference between traditional marketing and the concept of story-based messaging. But how does StoryBrand help health and wellness businesses stand out in a crowded marketplace where consumers are just constantly bombarded with information and choices?
So true. We're all honestly on information overload. But Donald Miller, the author of StoryBrand, has a saying I love, which is, when you confuse, you lose. So I'd say the first way to stand out is if you can clarify your message and deliver it in your unique brand voice and focus on what truly matters to your customers, then you make it easier for them to understand your value and how you can help them. I'd also say, think about how you can engage your prospects in a story. So weave a narrative that resonates with your ideal target market emotionally. That connection makes your brand voice more memorable amid a sea of options. And another way to stand out is to express empathy for the challenges that they're going through. When it's clear that you understand those challenges and their aspirations, like where they want to go, you can create a deeper emotional connection. The customers feel like you truly understand and care about their needs. One other thing I would definitely mention is consistency. So like getting your messaging framework right, expressing it consistently across all touch points from your website to your social media to your marketing materials. People will recognize your brand voice whenever they encounter it.
I love that when you confuse, you lose. That's so smart.
Mm-hmm.
So building on that, can you elaborate on the importance of having a unique, compelling message in the current business landscape?
Yeah, this is actually a really big question. It's kind of interesting. Not so long ago, it was all about mastering SEO. Then it was funnel mastery, get your perfect sales funnel right. Then a lot of marketing focus shifted over to mastering paid advertising, including like identifying your best marketing channels. And all of that was well and good while the economy was strong and people were spending. But right now, I think we're facing down a more cautious marketplace. The business landscape is shifting and consumers are weighing options and making more cautious investments when they want to solve a challenge. And so one of the strongest areas of opportunity I see is getting your messaging right. It's a differentiator that no competitor can copy. It's a sales technique that's compelling enough to work time after time. And in a time when so many people are thinking they'll save money and time by using AI to write their ads or their emails or their articles, true messaging mastery, I think, is where the greatest opportunity exists for the years ahead.
Yeah, I think you're right. And so what are the key steps that health and wellness businesses should take to implement that story brand framework and then create a more engaging brand message?
It is kind of a hurdle to know where to begin. So I would say start by defining who your ideal client is. Like get that person in your head. What are their goals? What are their challenges? What do they want to do? And then make sure that you can articulate the specific problems or obstacles that those clients are facing in their health and wellness journey. So position yourself as the guide, not the hero, in overcoming those challenges. Then you've got to offer them a clear plan, a step-by-step outline of how your solution will get them there. And then you'll also want to craft a compelling call to action, highlight the consequences of inaction, that aspirational vision of what success looks like. And then in all of that, keep the story simple. Like don't get too technical or use complex terminology. I see this a lot with our clients who have a lot of specialized knowledge. They want their audience to know the depth of that knowledge. And so sometimes they get too immersed in jargon and things like that. So make sure that you're keeping your story simple. Once you have that messaging framework established, just make sure that you're consistent across all those touch points like we were talking about before. Test and iterate to refine the messaging based on feedback, adapt as you need to, and continue moving forward.
That is really good advice. Keep it simple. I think so many of us tend to just overcomplicate things, but we have so much that we want to share.
Yeah.
So can you share a success story or like a case study of a health and wellness business that has transformed its marketing strategy using this story brand framework?
Yeah. We've had so many clients really have great success implementing this, which is why we believe in it so strongly. But sometimes it's as simple as creating that call to action directly on the homepage of the website. Like just putting that button up there that says, do this thing first. More often, it's a matter of getting rid of like mystery text, like things like I've seen websites where they let us paint a new picture of you. What? So it literally confuses the prospect. What do you do? How can I get it? We've also seen a huge result for a client who was outsourcing different aspects of their customer communications. So they had sent part to a PR firm, another to an agency that was doing paid. They were also paying a web developer to make changes to their website. So when they got a single messaging guide that they could share with each one of those resources, they were suddenly able to gain clarity and consistency and increase response rates across the board.
And that really goes back to what you said before about just keeping things simple, simplifying that process.
Yep.
So how can health and wellness businesses adapt this story brand approach to effectively target different segments of their audience, from the fitness enthusiasts to the holistic health seekers?
Yeah. And that's one of the things that I struggled with when I first learned about story brand. I was like, I have at least 3 different ideal customer profiles. How can I make one story that's going to resonate with all of them? So my answer to that is you may want to draft multiple versions of this 7-part framework, one for each audience you serve, or even for each product or service that you offer. So that allows you to tailor your messaging while still staying true to the core story brand framework. So certain elements of the framework will likely remain consistent across those different audiences. But by defining the message and story for each segment, you'll be able to connect with their needs. So once you have those unique frameworks in place, you can use them to connect. For instance, a dedicated landing page on your website for a particular audience, or social posts that speak directly to that segment, or customized content based on their uniquely defined persona.
Yeah, that totally makes sense. So what ways can health and wellness businesses use this storytelling to create that more authentic connection with their audience beyond just selling them products or services?
Yeah, so a great way to do that is when you're building community. So fostering connections between like-minded individuals who really relate to your brand story. Your storytelling thread can run through events, promotions, shared values to emphasize the importance of well-being beyond just that individual level.
Community really is so important for everything. All right, it is time for another quick break. We'll be right back after this. You're listening to the Worth Your Salt podcast, and today we're talking about clarifying your message so that your ideal clients connect. We'd love to hear your thoughts, so be sure to join us over on LinkedIn, Facebook, or Instagram at Salt Marketing Co. and let us know how you're using storytelling to compel your prospects to take action. So, Jen, some might think that reading the Building a Story Brand book is enough to apply all of these principles effectively. But why is it still essential to work with a certified story brand guide or consultant?
That's a good question, because when you read the book, you feel like, oh, okay, I get this. You get about 80% of what a guide would have, but implementing it is a whole different story. So while reading Building a Story Brand is an excellent starting point, I would say that working with a certified story brand guide can provide a couple of crucial advantages. I'd say, especially if you're new to these concepts, it's easy to think that you understand all the elements, but every business is unique, and applying StoryBrand effectively often requires tailoring it to your specific industry, goals, and target audience. And so a certified guide can provide personalized advice and strategies that really align with your business's individual needs and challenges. And the truth is, as StoryBrand guides, we've completed some pretty immersive training. We've applied the framework for diverse businesses across various industries. And you got to take into account the idea that an external consultant can offer you an objective viewpoint. So spotting opportunities and challenges that you might otherwise overlook. Yeah. A certified guide can also save you time and resources that you might waste on trial and error as you're going through the process. So if you encounter challenges or unexpected roadblocks during the implementation process, having a guide by your side can provide help on how to navigate those challenges effectively and how to adapt your strategy to make sure that what you get in the end actually works. So while reading Building a Story Brand provides an excellent foundation, I would say that working with a certified guide is an investment that can help you achieve more significant and sustainable results with your messaging.
Yeah, like you said before, they're that Sherpa that you really need to navigate the terrain.
Yeah.
So with companies becoming more cautious, we'll say, about their buying decisions, how does StoryBrand help businesses to build trust and credibility with their customers?
That is such an important point, Taylor. Because that's all that's what we talk about at SALT, is building trust and credibility and making you stand out in the marketplace based on the trust that you're building. It's really the most important part of the process. So first, I'd say that by positioning the customer as the hero of their own journey and your business as the guide, you're demonstrating that you're dedicated to helping the customer succeed, which of course is going to build trust. And then, of course, clarity and consistency also build trust. When your prospect can easily understand your message and your offerings, you create an authentic voice that people trust. I've seen this on countless websites where I go and it's a piece of software and there's no pricing. I'm like, what are you hiding from me? That does not build trust. So demonstrating that you understand your customer's journey, that they need the pricing at that point if they're asking for it, that's another big one. So addressing their specific concerns, revealing what their success looks like, it suddenly becomes clear that you'll be there to celebrate with them when they succeed. All of that builds trust.
Trust and transparency really go hand in hand. And so what do you see as the future of brand messaging in the health and wellness industry? And how will StoryBrand continue to play a significant role in shaping that?
Well, as we were saying a minute ago, the future of brand messaging in the health and wellness industry will very likely be centered around trust and credibility ongoing. And that's something that StoryBrand is well positioned to support. I think that building community around specific wellness journeys will be another huge factor in brand messaging going forward. I mean, really, StoryBrand's customer-centric, empathetic, and adaptable approach can carry your brand message forward for years to come.
I think you're totally right. And just empathy just goes so far with a brand. And so for health and wellness professionals that might be looking to get started with StoryBrand, what are some actionable first steps they can take to begin crafting that compelling brand message using this framework?
Well, as a StoryBrand guide, I have to give you a plan, right? So I would say start by reading the book. So read Building a Story Brand by Donald Miller. That foundational resource provides a comprehensive introduction to the StoryBrand framework, its principles, how to apply them to your business. Really reading that is a crucial first step in understanding the concept and its potential for your brand. So then second, I would say take a close look at your current brand message. Where are you missing the mark with regard to the StoryBrand framework? So understanding where you are now relative to what you've read in the book will help you set some goals for this process. And then finally, I would say reach out to an expert certified StoryBrand guide who specializes in working with health and wellness professionals. So as guides, we can provide a personalized guidance, help you create that customized brand messaging, and assist you in implementing the framework effectively for your specific niche within the industry.
Awesome. Thank you. So of course, links to everything that Jen has mentioned and to her LinkedIn profile will all be available on our website at saltmarketing.co. But right now it is time for our lightning round questions. And I know that you usually put our guests on the spot, but now it's your turn. So are you ready?
I am ready.
Okay. What is the best book that you've read recently?
So I read a great book by a woman named Latanya Conant, who is the Chief Market Officer at 6 Sense. Her book is called No Forms, No Spam, and No Cold Calls. It's honestly groundbreaking. It's a thought leadership piece about how we can get past old school thinking about gated content and attribution and so many other outdated marketing concepts. Some of it, like, the world just isn't ready for yet, but it is undeniably forward thinking, and I really enjoyed it.
Awesome. I will have to write that one down. So next question, what is your favorite thing about the work that you do?
One thing I hear a lot is marketing doesn't work. So one of my favorite things to help our clients do is stop committing random acts of marketing that frankly don't work, and instead craft a strategy to get results. One of my clients said recently, I have all these pieces of my marketing laid out on the table like so many cogs, but I need the strategy that connects them and makes the machine run. So that's what I love to do.
Oh, I love that. So what is the best piece of advice that you have ever been given?
My mom always used to say, this is not a contest. Like, we're on the same team. But I've taken that to heart a little bit, and I kind of show up to give and serve others. Like, even people on the surface might appear to be a competitor. There's honestly room for everybody to succeed. And if you find yourself in competition with someone, my philosophy is you just need to shift your priorities to find your own blue ocean. It's not a contest.
Yeah, I love that. And just working closely with you, I can definitely see that. And so who or what inspires you?
So I am so inspired right now by my daughter. She'll be thoroughly embarrassed that I did this, but she's 19. She's a sophomore in college. She's majoring in aerospace engineering, but that's not at all what inspires me. She has taken up photography as a hobby, so specifically sports photography. And she is so passionate about what she's doing there that she will stop at nothing to network and make connections and find opportunities. I watched her grow her LinkedIn following to over 1,000 followers in like 2 months. She talks to everyone. She asks for referrals. Anyway, it's an inspiring thing to watch her chase this hobby with so much energy and enthusiasm.
Well, let me just say that knowing her mom, I think I know where she gets that from. Jen, thank you so much again for letting me flip the script and ask you a few questions on this week's episode of Worth Your Salt.
Yeah, I loved it. This was great fun. And I love talking about StoryBrand with anybody who will listen. So
absolutely. And I also want to thank our listeners and let you know that if you're ready for your Worth Your Salt debut, tell us about your expertise by emailing us at grow@saltmarketing.co. Be sure to subscribe to Worth Your Salt either on our website or on YouTube so you never miss an episode. Finally, leave us a review or give the show a handful of stars wherever you get your content. That's all for this episode of Worth Your Salt. Be sure to join us again next Thursday. In the meantime, let's get out there and shake things up.